Welcome back to another episode of Different Walk Serious Talks. You're back here with myself, Jessica, Autumn, Thera, and Keisha. And today we're going to talk about relations versus relationships, the core disconnect between men and women. We're going to talk about the difference between what men and women tend to want in relationships, how that impacts how we show up in relationships, and what would be different if everybody just told the truth up front. What can we talk about when we talk about sexual access versus emotional access? And we might go on to a couple of other topics. So, first, let's talk about relations versus relationships. What do you guys think is the difference between what men tend to want versus what women tend to want in relationship?
I don't think it's a man versus woman thing. I think it's a where you are in your life kind of thing for everyone. When I was younger, I wanted to be in a relationship because that's what I saw. You know, you see your parents, they're married, your grandparents are married, and you play house and you want to be in a relationship. You know, you pretend you get married, you play those games where you do those, those flip books. But then when I've actually got in a relationship, I was fairly young, early teenage years, and it was domineering. And both of us were too young to be in that type of relationship, and it was for a couple of years. And I realized afterwards, I don't want to be in a relationship. And I used people for a while. Most of the time it was consensual, I want to be used. I'm not going to say that I never used somebody accidentally because I'm a distracted person and I might have just got my kicks without meaning to hurt somebody, but I did. And it wasn't until somebody was like, I want a relationship, that I got back in a relationship again. And I can say that every time I've been in a relationship wasn't because I wanted to jump in. And I'm the woman. And sometimes it was with another woman, sometimes it was with a man. But almost all relationships that I've been in were because that person wanted to do it, not because I was like, oh, let's settle down. Let's be in a relationship. Let's go ahead and I only want to be with one person. That wasn't me. And that's just my personality. Luckily, I have the personality to be faithful, but it could have gone either way. It's only because of what I learned when I was growing up. Not everybody learns faithfulness is a good thing. And it's not like I didn't see any relationships around me with cheating. I did. But I decided that faithfulness was my route if I was in a relationship. But I've also played the part where I was like, nah, bruh, no relationships here. Let's have some relations. And right now, at the point of life I'm in, because I'm older and I want a family, I am monogamous. But like I said, it could have went either route. If he wanted to do polyamory or whatever, or if he was like, let's just have kids and stay our separate ways, I might have been open to it if I was younger. But now that I'm older and I'm starting to read the Bible more, that's changed my mind. So I don't think it's a man or woman thing. And again, that could just be my opinion. I think it's a state of mind where you are and where you want to be.
I think a bit of it is social too. So I do think that women, especially young women, girls, are taught to play with dolls, play house, take care of your baby doll. And then we're taught the princess marries the prince. They go and they have a family. And we're kind of indoctrinated with this thought process that you're going to go and you're going to grow up and you're going to be a wife and a mother. And these are the things that you do. And this is normal life. And boys, it's especially in the last couple of years, we focused more on young girls learning STEM and things like that. But it wasn't like that, especially in our generation. In our generation, young women, you learn how to be mothers and wives, and young men learn how to do work. Like,
I
let's
think
play
that
with the
that's your
toys.
experience, but
Well,
I've
I
seen
mean,
differently. So even with our generation, I've seen quite a few women who were brought up by their mothers to use men. So it could
I
go either
agree.
route. Like we've seen a lot of women that do that, and they're like, you should be a mother. But there's also some who are like, no, you need to stay independent. Use men for all you can take them for, but get your own house. Don't let that man be a name on your house. You stay by yourself. Because I'm telling you right now, I had an awful experience, and you need to learn from my mistakes. And that did happen a
Yeah,
lot
but
in
I
our
think we're talking about two
generation.
different things, though. I'm talking about what gender roles we were taught, and I do think that part of that with the gender roles is being taken advantage of. And so even if you're taught, "Hey, you play with dolls, you play house, you are eventually gonna be a mother and a wife. Hey, you also need to make sure that you have your GoFund. So every time that he gives you money, you put a little bit away, because this man might screw you over, and you're gonna use him for whatever you need to use him for." And I do think that is the thing as well. But I think for the gender roles that were very prevalent in our generation, boys were taught that, you need to think of whether you're gonna be an astronaut or whether you're gonna go into, like, plumbing. Let's go play with the toys that are the dump trucks and the things that you build, skills with. And girls were given dolls and, like, the playhouse and things like that. So it was a little more linear for us. And of
I
course,
just
our
see it
mom
differently.
gave us everything.
That's why I'm saying, like, everybody has a different experience, and I can see where you're coming from, and I know a lot of women were taught that. There was even home ec, which phased out as we were teenagers. I just see it that no matter whether you're a man or a woman, and it's not even always based on what you're taught, because you can see different things different than what your parents are trying to teach you. You see what's from the church, you see what's from school, you see alternate adults doing different things in your life, and everybody takes a different viewpoint and treats it differently. So, in my experience, I've seen a lot of women do it differently, where they don't want relationships. They didn't even want a relationship to begin with. They use the man to get a baby, and then they don't want to see that man ever again, or they don't even want kids. There's plenty of women that are our age that do not want kids, and that's okay. That's a choice. But they chose not to have kids because they'd rather live their life, or they don't want to go through what their mothers went through, or they're not sure how to be a mother because they don't think they had that experience. So I just see it slightly differently, only because I guess I think differently, or maybe that's just my experience. So, yes, there are quite a few women that want families, but there's a lot of men I know too that want to settle down, want relationships. And I know there was a funny meme that someone sent me the other day about how men only want to have sex. And that's just that man's experience, because I know plenty of men. I know you remember when I was 17, it was my first relationship with a man, and I used him. I feel bad about it now, but back then I did tell him I was going to use him. He was all for it. We were both young, and he was all, please use me, use my body to your content. And I was in experimental phase. I told him I just wanted to learn about a man's body. I hadn't gotten to experience it, and I wanted to know the ins and outs of it. I wanted to know what was pleasurable for a man and how to do different things. And he let me use him. He fell in love, but I didn't. I totally used him. Sad for me, sad for him. But he wanted a relationship. He really, really wanted a family. He wanted to get married. He wanted to do all this kind of stuff. And he's probably a really good man with a really good family. Somewhere. But that wasn't my particular goal at the time, even though it was his. And he was young.
I think you kind of already touched on it, though. You got that way after being in a different relationship that changed your view. But your view at first was, you should want a family, you should want this, you should want that. And I do think that unless something changed your view, a lot of people from our generation end up, like, thinking that's what they want at first, and outside of even, like, consciously making that decision because of the inputs that we had from our parents and from what was around us. But when we talk about relationships versus relations, I mean, we're also talking about, like, intentions, right? So when we get in a relationship, are we being honest about what we really want? Are women telling men if they only want sex? Are men telling women when all they want is sex? Are you getting into that relationship? I've been in a relationship where I thought that we were monogamous until something happened and I was like, "So what's going on?" "Oh, well, I didn't tell you, but we also weren't like, I didn't tell you that we were together either. I just spent all my time with you and I told you that I really care about you. I didn't tell you that I was smashing other chicks. I didn't tell you that, that I'm doing all these other things." So, if I didn't specifically tell you that I wasn't, then you should have just assumed that I was. So, and it's a thought process that until that time I didn't think about it, right? At this time, any dude that I talk to, I'm going to ask. I'm going to be very specific. I'm going to ask, are you sexually active with someone else? Are you looking for a relationship? What exactly is your intent with me? Because I know what my intention is in the dating game, right? So that I think that that's really where we're going is what is the intention when people get in a relationship? Are they honest about it? And if they are honest about it, is the other person receiving it and then moving in that direction? Like you said, you were honest about it, and then somebody else kind of took it and was like, I could probably slide it into a relationship. Sometimes that happens too, where somebody is honest about it, but that person's like, nah, I can change your mind. I can, you know what? I can make that work though.
Well, I've
That's
always been
always
a
a rough
blunt
one,
person though. Not everybody is as blunt
Yeah.
as I am. So, I mean, even when we were younger though, there was that thing, well, even when you were in like middle school, if you were in a relationship, that person had to ask first. You remember those notes that used to get passed back and forth?
Yeah,
Will
do you
you be
like
It's
my
me?
normal.
girlfriend or will you go
Check
steady with
yes or
me?
no.
That's normal.
Yeah.
I
Yes,
feel
those
like
were
that's normal.
actual things. And so I don't know about you in that guy's situation, because truthfully, I can't remember it. But if I was you, I would have never assumed I was in a relationship either. But that's just me, because I don't ever assume anything like that. But I'm also the one
That was
who never wants to be in the relationship.
So that was my
So
my experience up until then. I had never been with somebody before that that did not want a relationship, that we were not going down that path, that we weren't just talking to each other. So up to that point, any interactions that I had had, men were like, I want you to be my future wife. Like first date, I've been on several first dates where dudes were like, I think you're my future wife. And I was like, we'll see. Obviously that has not been the case, but that is the mode that my mind was on, because that is the experience I had up until that point. And then this person, he seems like he's all in. We're talking, we're having all these conversations. We did have adjacent conversations like, are you talking to anybody else? No, 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 I'm not talking to anybody else. And he wasn't talking to anybody else. He was just having sex with them. So it was nuance for him, and for me now I'm like, okay, now you have to be very specific. You have to be very specific about the questions that you ask and things like that. But also, I shouldn't have to ask questions that specific for you to be transparent with me.
Yeah.
If you
There's a
know the
difference
intent
between
of
nuance and
correct.
manipulation, or nuance and deceit,
well,
you know?
here's what I could say about that too, though. You don't think that it's necessary to be specific. I am someone who needs something specific. So it's nothing transparent about anything unless it's spelled out for me. Now, I can't say that that's the same for all guys because, like I
I
said, I don't know because
See, I
everybody
don't
has a different
agree. If
experience.
I ask you a question, anytime that I've asked you a question in any realm, if you think that my intent is something other than what you understand, you answer the entirety of it. You'll answer if I'm
I
like,
also
"Hey,
ask a lot of
are you in a
questions, though.
relationship with somebody?" Then what you if somebody was that you were talking to was like, "Are you in a relationship with somebody?" You'd be like, "No, I'm not in a relationship, but I am talking to people." Right? But I
Okay,
am talking
yeah.
to people, that would make sense, right?
That makes
But if
sense.
you're
Yes.
Also talkative. Were all the guys you
But I'm
dated
just
really
saying
talkative?
though, but I'm
yes,
just
they
saying
were
though, like
just
that's kind of
deceitful.
crazy. They were being deceitful because if it's like, hey, I'm missing $200. Did you steal my $200? And they're like, no, because I really took $201. Like,
Yeah, that
my
that
but my
that
answer to you is no.
I
No, I
would
didn't take your
totally do that.
$200. Like that's
No,
just
I
no.
took
You can't do that.
201 though.
exactly.
You
I
can't
mean,
do
I might
that.
not say no though.
Yeah.
I'd totally be like, I didn't steal your $200. I straight up took your money. But that's just me. Cause
And
if
that's
I
the
took your money, it's because
difference.
I knew I could.
And that's the
It's about
difference, is that you are
honesty.
still being straight up with that information. You're not trying to find a loophole so that you don't have to be accountable for what you did. You're still being
I
straight
mean,
up.
we were
Yeah, I
taught to
did
be
it.
honest in general. Y'all
Yeah.
know what will happen if we lie. The stutter is real. The stutter, what?
It's that PTSD. It's that PTSD from all them
You,
you shouldn't have
you
lied
should not
whoopings.
lie. Your teeth gonna fall out your mouth. I actually
We
used to
didn't get
believe that when
that.
I was younger.
We just got beat. But we just got
Well, the
whoopings for
spanking,
lying.
I just remember that one spanking, and I'll never forget it. And I'm still bad at lying to this day.
See?
And for all those who think that spankings aren't necessary, they are. Anyways,
Okay,
back
but I
to
have a question,
relationships.
Farrah. I have a
Yes.
very specific question for you because you have a unique perspective among us, at least, where you have dated both genders. Okay.
Hmm.
And the question is, who wants a relationship more versus just sex? Now, you've said you've always been the person that has been approached regarding a relationship. Who usually does more approaching? Do guys more often say, hey, I want to have a relationship? Or do ladies more often say, hey, I want to have a relationship in your personal experience?
In my experience, when a woman, it depends on the woman or the man, truthfully. So some women want relationships immediately. I've been with a couple that were like, "Hey, you're gonna be my girlfriend." And I'm like, "Okay, whatever." But I've also been with women who are like, "Hey, I just want to use you for sexual prowess. Is that cool?" And I'm like, "Bet. Let's have some
Sign me
fun."
up.
Yes. So, I like to have fun when I was younger. For me, it wasn't about being in a relationship. It was mostly about the sex for me. Like I said, I have grown out of that since then. But when I was younger, I was these relationship stuff. I had been in a couple of relationships where even one woman in particular, she said she wanted a relationship, but she more just wanted to use me to watch me have relations with other people. And it was fun. I'm not gonna knock it, but she wasn't loyal.
Yeah.
And had she said that she wanted a polyamorous relationship, I would have been totally open. But instead she had to lie about it. She had to be one of those people who sneaks, even though we were having all these other open relations. And
Yeah.
that was one of the reasons. She was one of the reasons as I got older that I just didn't want to be in a relationship. Because what was the point? Even if I'm sitting here being as honest as I can, doing whatever you want, because I'm still doing whatever I want, and you're still able to lie. I've had more truth from men in that aspect, especially with how I'm blunt. When we decide, hey, we're going to be just friends with benefits, that's mostly what it is. Now, I'm not going to say that men haven't after the fact. I've had a couple of men be like, we've been having relations for a while. I know you're falling in love. And I'm like, nah, bruh, I'm sorry. That's just not my life. I'm
He tried
not
to
falling
tell
in love.
you, he tried to tell you you were falling in love.
I've had a couple of them be like, I know you're falling in love by now. You put it down pretty good, but just not that good. Like, nobody could make me want to be in a relationship. And funny enough, the one who finally got me in a relationship was the one who was like, you're not getting any until we're in a relationship.
Dang it.
And
Oh, he
now
got you. Oh, he got you
look
good.
at this. Yeah,
Locked down.
he's the one who was like, nah, you want it, you got to be in a relationship. And I'm like, really? Nobody's ever told me that before.
And I do want it. So here we are,
So
happily together.
here we are, and I'm still locked down. So it's,
He's like, you're not gonna
everybody's
use me.
different. Yeah, he wasn't with it. He was like, I already know how you are. I know all the things you like to do. I know you like to have fun, and you can keep having fun, or you could have fun with me. And then ultimately, I chose the fun with him, and it's so fun. Hey, never knew you could be monogamous and still have this much fun. So it is what it is. But again, there was that long road. I was even married for a time, and me and my ex-husband told each other that if he ever ended up in jail, I was allowed to do whatever I wanted. I mean, he didn't agree after he went to jail, but the agreement was already set in place. So it's life. I did stay monogamous for like the first year till he started
Yeah.
cursing me out all the time. That'll make anybody be like, faithfulness is for kick rocks. Yeah, no. Nobody wants to stay faithful being yelled at and told how awful they are or what they are or aren't doing or being unappreciated. Whether you're a man or a woman, if you're in a relationship and somebody's treating you like crap, that's probably how they ended up. I'm not saying it's a good excuse. It's not a good excuse. I've never actually cheated on anybody. I've always been upfront with anybody. However, if you're in a relationship and somebody's treating you good, if you want to stay in that relationship, you might want to open up just a little bit. It's not always about just communication. It could be the transparent stuff that I don't know how to talk about. But I don't know. For me, it was different. I've had a different experience than the just, I want to get married. And I do want to get married now. Now that I'm, divorced and we have a child. It's different now. Now I'm starting to read my Bible. And I'm not going to say that I'm fully convinced. I'm not fully convinced that polyamory is a sin because so many men in the Bible had more than one wife. And if it
Was
was
that
that wrong, how
before or
come God
after
accepted it?
Jesus died?
I don't remember. I have to keep reading. See,
I,
that's
I'm
the
still
problem.
I'm
I'm still
still reading,
reading.
so I can't I can't answer the question. But so that I think that would be the answer to your question once you get there. But I would say it depends on whether it was before or after Jesus died. That would implicate a different answer to the question because they were laws that existed before he died and then after he died. Yeah,
And then another good point that Jessica brought up to me, because everybody's always like, oh my God, you and your partner aren't married. Somebody actually pointed out to me that I am not a spouse. I'm a partner. I didn't know. I don't really care either. But I'm a partner, not a spouse. A spouse is someone who is married. Okay. I don't really care. I'm his partner. We've been together for a long time. We cohabitate. We're not splitting up anytime soon. Not that I know of. God has a funny way of doing things. So let me just, God, please don't let us split up. But I was told that we're not married. And apparently, according to the Old Testament, if you live together for so long and you're faithful to that person, it's the same thing. So I don't need man's written word to say I'm married. So I don't
I
feel
think there
that
were
guilty.
marriage ceremonies like in like if you look at the beginning of the Bible, there's like not they're like take the woman to wife and they're like, "Yep, you're mine." So like unless I'm missing some sort of nuance, there wasn't really marriage ceremony. So
I mean, we're still researching. We might come back with a different answer in 2, 3 weeks or 2, 3 years. I don't know. But I don't feel as bad now that we've started to read the Bible and have these fellowships. I don't feel as bad cohabitating with my man and not being married. I do want to get married and I would like to show my daughter a good relationship. Um, I'm not saying that I did or didn't see a lot of good and bad relationships because I can't really tell. I'm distracted, I'm forgetful, and I don't know if my relationships were based off of what I learned growing up. I do know that whatever I went through had an impact on my relationships, whether I was abused or treated good. And, I've had women treat me good and I've had women treat me bad. I've had men treat me amazing and when men treat me throwing me at walls. I'm a pretty small person. I'm easy to throw. Doesn't mean you could do it. I fight back. So, you know, every relationship is different. And because I went through some of those types of things, I didn't agree with relationships for a long time, but that's my experience. So, and men go through some bad things too. Not to say that that's why they do or don't want relationships, but if it is based off of how you grew up, then a lot of men and women in our generation grew up without a father. They didn't get to see that. They didn't get to see the healthy relationship that would someday blossom. And as a woman, if I can understand that,
I
maybe I
think
can
it's
be better in the
social as
relationship.
well. Like I was saying earlier, I do think it is social as well. Men, especially when we're in like our teens, and it was like women who sleep around are sluts. Men who sleep around are kings. They're heroes.
No,
The
they're still sluts
players.
too.
Like
They
like
still
no,
sluts.
well we think they're sluts, especially now, right? But at
Yeah.
Oh
that
no, back then
time,
too. Back then I thought so
no.
too. I would call them
I
a
mean,
slut to their face.
you might,
It would
but
actually
most of
turn
the
them
people
on.
around them would be like, "Oh, man, that's fantastic. Oh, you hit that and that? Man, you got it."
What kind of
So,
women were
like,
you hanging around? I got my props. I hang around the
I
same type
also
of women
wasn't
that are
sleeping
like
with
me
anybody,
though.
so I wasn't sleeping with anybody, so it wasn't I couldn't tell you what that looked like. So, but I did see women who slept with multiple men who were spoken badly about in rooms they were in and rooms they weren't in. And the same men that they were sleeping with were given props in the same rooms. And
I'm gonna
so
tell you the same thing that I told Keisha before we started this podcast. When we were growing up, nothing was good, nothing was right unless you had haters. And that's how I always thought of it. If you were getting talked about, it's because you were doing something good.
I
Don't
appreciate
nobody
that,
sit
but
there and tell a story unless it's interesting.
that doesn't
Just
change
saying.
what the ramifications of that were though. So the ramifications of not wanting to be called a slut, of women being told that they need to dream of marriage and children, and men being told that they need to sleep with as many women as possible to feel like a real man, that will impact, like, by the time we come to marriageable age, men are still trying to sleep with as many women as possible so that they'll be thought well of in certain circles. Women are already at the place where they're like, okay, so where's my Prince Charming?
Do you
And so,
remember when we were in high school, there was that whole abstinence thing for men and women? So it wasn't
and
just
the
for
guys
women.
were like, nah. The women were, and this is just from my experience and the people that I was around. The men were told, you should do this if possible. Hey, here's condoms if you can't do it. And women were told, you're gonna be left with the bag, so you better not do it. And if you do it, that's kind of gross. And this is my experience because, like I said, I was around some women who were very much sexually active, and they were spoken terribly about in certain rooms that I was in. And I would say, hey, that's, let them choose to do whatever they want to do, right?
Mhm.
But at the same time, like, it is going to impact the people who are hearing it because they're like, oh, I don't want to be called a slut. I don't want people to think that of me. So it is going to impact the way that you move and the way that people that you do things, unless you're like you and you don't care. But most people care. Most people do care.
I guess
So
that's why I don't really get it because I'm like, so? Like,
yeah,
I hear you, but I'm like, who cares what
yeah,
people think? But that's
you don't
that's
care, but
always been
most
my
people
stance, so
do.
I can't fully understand where you're coming from because
Yeah,
I don't care. I
most
don't
people
care. I
genuinely
don't
care.
care that people call us names. I don't care if people sitting here talking about it. It's life. Like, there's so much other things to worry about. Like, did I
Yeah.
eat today? I did. Did I sleep in my own bed? I did. Did I wake up in my own bed? I did. Those are things for me to worry about. Again, always refer to the three F's. If you really want to care about somebody's opinion, that's not your mama or daddy. Come on. Three F's: feed, fuck, and finance. Come on, people. If they not doing one of those, who cares? Their
Can you
opinion
please repeat
isn't
that
worth
again?
it.
The three F's.
The three F's are feed, fuck, and finance. Okay? If they not doing those three things, who gives a shit? Yes, everybody wants friends, and that's great. I'm not saying to go fuck your friends. Come on now. However, does your friend feed you when you sick? Does your friend let you borrow money if you need it? Do you let them borrow money? Then their opinion might be something that you can take into consideration, but it's still not the top-notch priority. Like, great, you think my daughter should wear pink. I'll take that into consideration. But her father, she doesn't need to wear pink. Okay, no more pink. Pink is gone. Pink is not even a color. See? See how easy that is? That's where you should care about the opinion.
Yeah, but we're not talking about just now, and also we're talking about the disconnect between what people believe and feel about relations versus relationship, right? So, like, how honest are we? And the way that social structure works, does that impact how people show up in these relationships as well? So because women tend to want the relationships, are more men likely to lie about it when they are promiscuous? And the other way around, right? So we
I think
might
it
be
depends on how they
experiencing
grew
the
up,
other
though,
way
like you
around.
said.
I agree. I completely agree. I know some men who have been talking about wanting to have a wife since high school. Like, since high school, they were like, so I have a plan. I'm going to college here. Once I'm done with college, this is around this age is when I want to get married. If I meet my wife before then we're gonna be locked in until around this age. And then after we get married, I want to have a house in this area. Like, they have it planned, they have it mapped out, right? But that's not normal. Like, a lot of men tend to be like, all right, well, and I think the general age that we think that we're going to be married by is different for men and women. And so women think about and this is general, I'm not talking about all women. A lot of women think about getting married around their early 20s because we do have a biological clock to worry about. We do have the thought of having to bear the children and then raise up the children and then be able to have a life afterwards with our spouse. Men can have children until they're quite old. So women early 20s, men early 30s. Now that is a whole decade of difference where men tend to think about marriage happening, and they don't not think about marriage at all, because I think most men do think that they will eventually be married, but they don't feel a rush for it, and they tend to think late 20s, early 30s. So with that being the case, you have a lot of women looking to be married while men are still playing around. If you're dating within your age group, right? Because you might be outside of that. But I think that that tends to impact how we show up in relationships because women are looking for that final commitment to happen quicker than men are ready to actually give it. And
I don't
so
know, cause what about all those women who are like, "Nah, career first, bruh. You can marry me after I get this degree. You could put a ring on my finger till then, but no marriage." I've seen that happen quite a bit, actually.
that happen all that much. I do see women who I don't think align with as many men because women more than ever are getting higher degrees and are able to sustain themselves differently. And so their expectations are tend to be higher. And so unfortunately what that means is that there's less people who are aligned. What about you, Autumn? What do you think? What are your thoughts?
Well, Farrah flipped this whole conversation on his head for me because, based on societal standards, men seek slash prioritize sexual access first versus women. We seem to seek and prioritize relationships based on safety, consistency, and emotional reliability. Let me get some. Let me do this. Let's do this. And they'll do and say everything to get sexual access, including pretend that they want a relationship or pretend they want to get to know you. But I fall in a category a little bit with Farrah because when I was coming up, I was a little, I was a little frisky. Before I dive into that, since we were talking about your friend, you were saying in high school that the guy, he knew he wanted to be married at a certain age and what he wanted. I'm wondering, was his upbringing a two-parent household? Did he have the guidance? And he knew from the top of his head that's what he wanted because that's what he saw versus grew up in single parent households. We kind of all over the place because we
Yeah.
didn't have.
Did come from a two-parent household, but I also know a young man now who comes from a single parent household who also wants the same thing. He knows that he wants to get married. He knows that he wants children. He's like, when I find when I have a stable job, once I have a once I have all my stuff together, then I want to get married. And once I get married, I want to buy a house. He has it mapped out as well. So I
But was
think
he like that in high school, or you know him as of now? Because what I'm saying, that's kind of. I'm
I
not
don't
saying
know him
it's
now. I
weird.
didn't know him in high school.
That's what I'm saying. It's kind of that sounds like a unicorn, if you will, to have a man or a young man in his teens know that he wants to get married when the general populace of young boys was taught you sow your seeds or get with a girl and try things out. But it kind of flipped it on the head when Farrah said, I didn't want relationships. I wanted sexual access. And that's kind of different because it's not talked about. It's always talked about from a male's perspective on how they want access to sex first. And women or girls want relationships. And I was one of those girls that I really didn't have the need to have a relationship. I'm independent, I'm young, making money. I don't want to be tied down. And granted, yeah, and it's so funny. My mama told me, she's like, don't get married. I'm like, what? Don't get married. And this is my mama telling me this, okay? And I didn't listen. So I didn't listen. I got married. And the reason why I got married was because I thought at the time of the biblical aspect, I wanted to have sex. But in order for me to have sex, I wanted to do it the right way. So I got married and then had sex. And then after that was history. The relationship fell apart and I became one with myself and I was just out there willy nilly get my freak on or whatever. But it goes to show you society has taught women, boys and girls, to be different when it comes to respect relationships. And it's so many different it's a very complex situation because everybody has different experiences, everybody has different opinions, but based on societal standards, women are supposed to be the ones that wanted relationships versus having sexual escapades, if you will. So yeah.
You know, Autumn, I'm really glad that you brought up your mom because you said your mom said don't get married. And the mom has a lot to do with how a lot of people go. So even you said your mom said don't get married. You decided not to listen, but there's plenty of women out there who do listen. And there's also a lot of mothers who have sons that teach them not to be in a monogamous relationship. They teach them to play the field. So I'm not knocking single moms or anything like that because sometimes it's moms who are married who's look at you no good dad. Da 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 da. You know, because
It's not even
I've
all
seen that.
Oh,
sometimes it's not even all that though. Sometimes it is literally them saying, "You're young, play the field," or them
You're
knowing
too
that their
good for
mama
her.
isn't gonna say anything if you got multiple people in the house. If you bring Tiffany, Jennifer, Amanda, and Sue up in here, I'm not gonna say nothing to none of them. I'm gonna say hi and offer them tea. Every single one of them. I'm gonna ask if
I
they need a
remember
washcloth after.
one mom told me, "You're black. I don't want a black daughter-in-law, so he's just gonna play with you." So that's cool. I'm just here to play with him too. She was mad.
so why you looking like that?
Who says that out loud? Who says that out loud?
That's fine because I was just using her son too, and it was fine. It was fine with me. She
Okay.
she didn't like my answer.
What color was the sun?
They black. She wanted an Asian daughter-in-law.
She had her grandchildren mapped out.
Yes.
Okay. Got it. Okay.
Sometimes
Okay.
it be like that.
Okay. All right, ladies. So if a guy approached you now, okay, just pretend like you don't have your significant others. Okay. A guy approached you now and was like, "Hey, you look good to me. I really just want to have fun." Would you be willing to go along with that if they looked good to you as well? You'd be okay with that offer.
Yes. I'd be like, oh, I'd be so happy. Oh, you mean you don't want relations? You don't want to be in a relationship? You just want to use me for my body.
So basically, you say he's looking for sex without responsibility.
Yeah, he
So
said, "I don't want
basically,
to.
I got
sex
my
I
own
don't
without
want
stuff
to
I could take
date.
responsibility.
care of.
I don't
Sometimes
want
you
a
need a
commitment.
splacanelli.
I just want to have access. When you have time, let me get a little bit of that, and let's move on."
What
Would you
about you,
be
Keisha?
open and willing to that? I don't think so. I don't think so. My hoo ha's
You're a
not all
relationship
that.
kind of girl.
I'm an effort kind of person. I'm an effort. Try to put. You got to put in. You got to put something in before you can actually put something in. You know what I'm saying? Like just, I don't know, just try. And the thing
So
is,
what if he wanted to put in effort, but he was like, I don't want to be in a relationship. I will take you out on the finest of dates. I will wine and dine you, and then we gonna get it in at a 5-star hotel and get you the spa treatment afterwards. And that'll be our relationship. You get all the 5-star stuff. I'll give you my black card, and then I'll spend time with you. You can have me Monday, Wednesday, and Friday every week, and you get my black card all week though, and you get the spa treatment, and you can live in that 5-star hotel. Are you taking the offer?
I do like everything black. I do like everything black. No, black card, you say? No. Listen, while that does sound appealing on some levels, one of the things that I kept hearing in my mind is like, "Oh, so I'm an escort. I'm not a hooker. I'm an escort." The escorts get the nice, 5-star hotels and the wining and the dining, but you're really there to provide a service and you're well compensated for that service. So I'm an escort. Maybe hookers would get a motel. They pay by the hour, they rent it by the
Do I
hour.
get my own
You
bank
know,
account? Along
You
with the
get the
black
card.
cars?
You get the
No,
cards.
besides the card, do I get my own bank account?
I mean, maybe you can negotiate a bank account.
I
Credit
mean,
card is not
you can
accepted
negotiate an
everywhere.
allowance. You could probably
I
negotiate an
mean,
allowance, and then
this sounds
then shop.
negotiable. This she said this sounds like the deal for me. I'd rather have
She's like, "Why didn't you ask me that question?"
because we already knew the answer, Farah. We already knew. I mean, I don't know what kind of spell my partner has on me because he has me locked down. But if he didn't have me locked down, I would probably not be locked down. I hear you, girl. I hear you. I think I'm more of like the monogamous type. I've always been a serial monogamous person. I didn't have a time where I really played the field or anything like that. I think I do need like some type of emotional connection. I couldn't even. Is that something you were taught? I don't think, no. My mom didn't talk to me about relationships. My mom only told me do not date or marry a Haitian man. That's the only relationship advice she gave me. She said they will put you through hell. Don't do it. That's the only thing.
Sounds like a staple thing that Haitian mothers will tell
Shout
you.
out to our good Haitian men out there.
I'm sure there are some good Haitian men,
I'm
but
sure they
also
are.
remember the 3-year stalker, Haitian
Gene,
man.
that you're not.
Gene, you know who you are.
He's a good man. You see that they out there. They out there.
He treats his
There's
wife
some good
amazing.
men out there, but I've never dated a Haitian man, but I've been stalked by a Haitian man. So I think it'll be very
I mean,
difficult for me.
He was waiting for a date. What are you talking about? That's what he was coming after you for, a date.
English men stalk too. Uh, Men of all different cultures and ethnic backgrounds are stalkers, and I'm sure there's good Haitian men out there. My mom
There
was
are
just
good
speaking from
Haitian
her
men out there.
experience, so I get
Yeah,
it. But yeah,
I'm
I
sure
didn't
there are.
learn that. Nobody particularly taught me that. It's just kind of how I am. I've always kind of wanted those emotional connections.
That's good.
And you
That's
guys know
good.
me.
That's good.
I have thought about it. I have even gone as far as to be like, you know what? I'm do it. I'm gonna have a no strings attached relationship. And I was like, all right, I'm gonna go on a date tonight, and it's gonna be no strings attached. But also maybe we can talk first and go to dinner, and then we'll figure out after the dinner whether or not this is gonna work out. And
God,
yeah, it didn't.
it always veers in that
Obviously,
direction.
obviously for me, I was like, yeah, no, this is not. I
So
can't do it
so
without
at
emotional
your core,
connection.
you know what you want.
Yes.
Either and it's not by being programmed by societal standards for women. It's just what your standards, what you want, your personal standards.
Yeah.
And
I like
that's a
safety.
good thing.
I
Honestly, I don't
I
think
don't
there's anything wrong with
yeah.
that. If you
Yeah.
personally want no strings attached, you want to have, a little rotation, I say go for it. It's your life. Live it however you want to. I just think it's important that you are upfront and honest with everyone. Don't lie and cheat and manipulate people into being in your rotation. Everybody's consenting adult. I've given you information that you can make your own decision with. Go for it. And if you want to be in a committed relationship, go for it. But just be honest with the people that you're dealing with so they can make their decisions. Don't steal that decision
But
from
I
them.
don't think for women but I think men do that because if they was to say, I'm just looking for sex without responsibility, I'm open to sex, but only inside emotional consistency, I don't want commitment. They feel that a lot of women were like, nah, dude, I'm good. And then if
So here's the
And can I
here's the
tell you
problem with
something?
that.
So here's my response to that because since I've been approached that way and I took them up on the offer, be easy to talk to. Like it's I've had
I
a lot of women tell me that they're me mugging and all this other stuff. I am very easy to approach. I'm
I don't
easily
think
to
that's the
talk
but
to, and that's for
problem.
men and
I don't
women.
think it's based on
I don't think that's the
being
problem.
easy to talk to.
I'm not
A
saying
lot
that
of
that's the problem. I'm saying that it might help with what some women are going through. They say they're never approached and all this other kind of stuff, and they can't find the right man, stuff like that. I'm not saying that you need to be easy to talk to for everybody, but once in a while, let loose. It's okay to talk to just anybody. Some of the best relationships, some of the best sex I've had, because I won't say relationships, because let's be realistic. But some of the best sex I've ever had was from guys who just came up to me and started talking, and I didn't think twice about them. I just started talking too. I talk to old people, I talk to young people, I talk to whoever will talk to me. And yes, I'm talkative. I know that could be a problem for some people. But I'm very open. I'm open enough that they felt open enough to say something like that to me. And it was my decision whether I took them up on it or not. You know what I mean? Like, I could have been like, "Nah, bruh," as well. That was
But
my decision. But it's
I
whether
don't
you were
think
easy
that
enough
that
to talk
has
to too.
I don't think that has anything to do with men lying about it. So
I
I
mean, I
don't think
wouldn't
that
know
the
that
2 things
part.
intersect. So I do think that being approachable is helpful to if you want to be with somebody, especially if you're not in a relationship and you want to be with someone, if you're out and about, being approachable helps to be approached, right? That it just makes sense. But if we're
I will
talking
say
about
that with
men
all those
lying,
relationships though, I've never had anybody lie to me with the friends with benefits type. I've only had men in relationships or women in relationships lie to me. So it's normally when you're actually in the relationship that someone will lie to you versus being a friends with benefits type of thing.
No, what I'm saying, okay, what I'm saying, you meet somebody, you meet Joe Blow, y'all in the say in a restaurant or a club, and he see you across the way, he like, ooh, she look hot as hell. But in his mind, he's gonna probably think, okay, if I try to talk to her, she's probably gonna want a relationship, right? So instead of saying I'm looking for, that will be, we need to probably be get, going towards more transparency and honesty. And some people, men and women, we just got to deal with the rejection of it, because I think it saves a lot of people a lot of heartache down the line. If we are very transparent, like, I'm looking for sex. But my experience, a lot of men probably don't want to say, I'm just looking for sex without responsibility, because they know they would get shot down by the women that they're trying to approach.
more and more men are being transparent. I'm not looking for a relationship. I'm just looking to have fun right now. And I do see that, like being in the dating space, I see more and more people are more transparent about what they actually want.
Now,
But
now,
I
not
do think there is
now.
a subset of people, and this is and I've even seen videos that are associated with this. There is a subset of men who do not want to have sex with women who just want sex. They want to have sex with women who lean towards the relationship space
Why?
because they are more because they see these women who want to have sex and do not want strings attached as sluts. And you
But
are
they sleep with the sluts. That's the crazy
but
part.
no, they don't want to sleep with the sluts. They want to lie and sleep with the women who want a relationship because they in their minds they have this negative connotation of women who want exactly the thing that they want, which is
Isn't that a
insane,
strange kind of
right?
projection? Like you don't
It
like
is.
yourself? You don't like the female
You
version
don't
of yourself? Okay.
because you I'm sure I
Okay.
don't know if
You're onto
if
something
anybody has
there.
not heard for a man it's the master key, and a master key that can open any lock is useful. A lock that can be opened by any key is useless. So men think that way. I've heard several men say men can't be hoes, men can't be sluts.
It. Sorry.
So many men think this. I promise you, so many men think this. Men can't be hoes,
It.
men can't be sluts. Women can be sluts, women can be hoes.
You know what I've
So
heard?
because they have that thought process, if they think of a woman as a hoe or a slut, I don't want to deal with you. I want to deal with somebody who I have more respect for because they can't respect them in their minds, regardless of who that person actually is
Okay.
as a
In my
person.
That is
experience,
so
my
much to
experiences
unpack.
are different.
Here's the thing though. What I've heard is everybody's the same height when they lay down. Y'all the same height when y'all lay down.
I've also had a different
If
experience
you
though.
are
I actually
laying if you are laying with someone that you would deem a hoe, then you are probably
You're a
a
hoe
hoe,
too.
right? You guys are both hoes together. Y'all both like how does that you're the same height when you lay down. And then as far as like a woman is a lock and a man is a key, no, we are people. Okay, we are people. And if you don't want to sleep with someone that reminds you of you, you should probably reflect a little bit. You should probably take your ass to therapy. I don't know. But like that's kind of like the mental gymnastics you have to go through to justify that. I am going to lie to people to sleep with me because I want to sleep with the people that'll be honest with their intentions. What? That doesn't even make
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
Like all men want to
Yeah.
sleep with virgins. All you want to do is sleep with virgins. There would be no virgins left. Do you understand?
But that's
You
what they
understand
want.
that?
My longest relationship I've ever been in, he was upset and he said it would have been so much better if you were a virgin when we started out. Sir, you weren't a virgin.
You
You
weren't
were
a
not a virgin when we
virgin.
got together,
Okay,
and
but
my
here's
number
the
was
thing.
less than half of yours.
The
Your
Here's the
hypocrisy of
thing
number
that
though.
was
It
triple
is
mine when we
hypocritical.
started. But
well,
but he got upset. His number was triple. Mine is pretty low, but
Hypocrisy
his
is
was
crazy.
triple mine when we started. And when we got together, he was like, I feel like this might have worked out if you were a virgin when we got
Why
together.
do you think
feel
he
like
said that? Why do you
I
think
have
he felt
I
like
have a
that?
hypothesis on
Possession.
why he said that. I wasn't in there at all. I don't know this man for Adam, but I have a hypothesis. Because he believes that if you were a virgin, you would have nobody and nothing to compare him to, so his stature would have gone up. Also, maybe you'd have been more easily manipulated. There is this idea that if somebody takes somebody's virginity, they're going to be like tied to them forever. You know, you're just going to fall in love with them automatically, so on and so forth. So you'd be easier to manipulate on multiple levels because you didn't know anything else. That's what that is. If you don't want to sleep with someone that's your equal, isn't that kind of weird? What does that say about you if you don't want to sleep with someone that is your equal? Something's
What were
going
you going to
on
say,
there.
Farrah?
I've just had a different experience in that. I've never had a man be like, "Oh, you're a slut." I've had a man be like, "Thank God you only want to be in this particular place." And then, like I said, most of them end up changing up towards the end. I've only had one guy that I ever had a friends with benefits type of deal where we would come back years later and years later again. Like we started fairly young. Um, After my first experience with that man, I ended up meeting up with this guy from church and we had some fun.
Church
And
people
then
be
we had some
freaky.
fun again. And then
They're
we
some
had some fun
freaks.
again.
Church people.
And he didn't want a relationship and I didn't want a relationship. And every time I wouldn't be in a relationship, it's like he had some kind of radar. He'd be like, "Hey, what you doing? I am totally free. I'm coming to get you. Let's go." And that was our relationship for a good, I can't even count how many years, but it was fun. It
So
was
y'all just met up
real nice, but that's the only one.
But
so
that's
Yes.
because you guys were
You
aligned.
know, funny enough, we would talk whenever we go to church, we talk, we see each other. I inquire about his family. He inquires about my family. We are actually friends. We've been friends since we were little. He put some good on me back in the day. Man, anytime we had the opportunity, we would take it. Up until I got in a relationship and was like, okay, no more. If he was free and I was free, that was our relationship. Like we
That
never looked
kind
for a
of,
relationship.
if you said that you were open to being no strings attached, it would actually make sense for you not to have that sort of interaction with a man because they weren't looking for somebody with no strings attached. There are men who do not look for women who are no strings attached. They don't want strings attached, but they want women who want relationships. So if you said, "Nah, I'm not looking to be in a relationship," they'd be like, "Okay, cool. No problem. You're not the type of woman I'm looking for. Oh, you're so beautiful, you're so pretty." And then they'd move on. And then they're looking for the woman who wants to be in a relationship. And then they smash. Once they're finished doing that, they're like, "Fantastic, I got it. Yes."
None
And
of
then they
the
move
men that
on.
I've ever been in with
And
knew, they
it's
all knew I
crazy.
didn't want strings. Like I said,
Yeah.
the first one that I used, for experiment, he knew I didn't want any strings attached. I met some guy at a pool hall and we bet on a game, no strings attached.
That's what
I
I'm
met another
saying.
guy
So
just chilling at a friend's house. Yeah.
they knew that. So you wouldn't have had the opportunity to be in contact with somebody who was that sort of predator. Because if they know that's not what you're looking for, you're not what they're looking for. They're looking for somebody who they're like, "Well, I'm looking for my husband," and they're like, "I'm husband material.
I pretend to be.
You looking for me? I'm him."
I
And they
mean,
pretend
I've never
until they get it.
looked for it. So
I've I've had friends who've had sort of issue that like they're like, "Yeah, I as soon as we, as I gave it up, they stopped calling me." I haven't had that happen in particular. So yeah, I have had somebody who was just deceitful from the outset and I was stupid. So that's
I'm
a whole
sorry you
different
had that experience.
conversation.
And that's why you know what? It's good to be transparent, but sometimes I feel like the more transparent you are, it's like they could use that against you. You know, it's like you giving them the answers to your test. Oh, she's looking for this. Okay, bet. I'm gonna act like I'm this to get what I want from her or
I
him. And
mean,
when that happens,
I've
they
actually wished that I wasn't as blunt as I am because I'm pretty sure I've hurt some people's feelings. I can tell you when I was younger, when I worked at Dave& Buster's, there was this guy, really nice guy, and he was so handsome. And I just wanted sex from him, but he wanted more. And I didn't know he wanted more until after the date. You know, I expected to get some. And he told me he wanted to be special. And, you know, most women would find that romantic. I did not. I left
And
and
that's
went to go get,
okay. And that's
I
okay.
left and
That's
went to go get, I
it's
was so
good that you were
offended.
blunt.
Like,
It's
what?
good that you were
I was like,
blunt
sorry,
because
this is
he
not
might have
what I'm
felt
looking for.
used.
I'm gonna go find
So
somebody to have some with me. Nice
that's
having a date.
actually
look, you
perfect. That's
probably got
exactly
that
what we're
man still
talking
balled up
about.
in a corner somewhere.
I
Transparency.
don't know,
No,
but
I'm
I'm
sure
sorry.
he was
If
like,
you
God,
remember who
broke
you
my
are,
heart.
I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to be that blunt or mean or
I'm sure
transparent.
look,
It's
I'm
just
sure
what I was
he
looking for at the time.
I'm sure he appreciated your transparency because he
And he
was
was
looking for
handsome, boy.
something different than what you were looking for. And so but I do think that what Autumn said makes sense because especially narcissists will use that stuff against you. People who are very much narcissistic in nature will use that against you, especially if you have low self-esteem, especially if you have confidence issues. They will use that, oh well, if you do this, you will be this for me. Because that's how mine went. It was, I don't want to be in a relationship right now, but if you doll yourself up a little bit, you'd be more what I was looking for. If you do
What?
this, you'll be more what you know. It. I don't like girls who wear short skirts. I don't like girls who wear heels. If you don't wear heels, you'll be more what I'm looking for. And then they kind of pigeonhole you into, and then of course they're gonna string it along.
So what were they
Sometimes
doing
that
when they
does
were
happen.
asking you to do stuff though? Because I'm a person of equal opportunity. If I've got to get dolled up, what you doing?
Well, that they kept saying, you're not on my level. They would tell me that all the time.
No,
You're not on my
I'm on
level.
everybody. See that?
And it was me personally having issues in my head already that they played
Yeah,
off of, right? I already had
I
confidence
guess.
issues and they used that to keep me in place. They were able to
See, I
pin
guess
me in
that's where I
place
can
with
never fully
comments
understand. I'm sorry
based
for you like
Manipulation.
upon
that. I'm
knowing.
so
Yeah,
sorry you went
they
through that.
Manipulation.
knew that I had confidence issues. They knew that I'm very much a people pleaser, especially in relationships. As we talked about on the previous episode, I like making sure that my man is good. I like making sure that he has what he needs and all that. He took advantage of that, right? He took advantage of that to say, you're a people pleaser. You could please me, but the things you do don't please me. So you could do this a little better. You could do this a little more. You're a little pretty, but you would be prettier if you did this.
I
You're
guess
a little
my
cute,
people
but you'd be
pleaser
cuter
is
if you did
different than your
this.
people pleaser
Keisha, why you
because it's
look?
just crazy. It's
Why's
just
your face
crazy.
like that?
It when you're indoctrinated after a certain amount of time, you don't realize that you're being indoctrinated because they do it very little by little by little. And I'm sure there are men who have had the same experience with women, right? I'm sure there are men who a woman talks down to them and he pins them in place with a little comments. And I've been told that guys have been told, oh well, I mean, you're long, but you're not that long. You all right. I mean, I've had better, but I don't want to, I don't want to make you feel any sort of way, but I've had better. You're obviously
So go
saying
get
that to
that
make
better.
them feel, but you're, it's true.
Love
That's
it.
exactly what they should have said, right? But when you feel a certain way
Yes.
already about yourself, when you have certain insecurities, people pin you in place with that. And unfortunately, they use that difference to do what relationships versus relations talk about. And they're honest up to a certain point. They don't use transparency, they use honesty up to a certain point,
Yep.
right?
Manipulation tactics. That's
Is
what
that
this is.
what
Very
gaslighting
much
is?
so.
Yes. In a way,
Kind of.
yes.
I finally got the term. Okay.
Yes, in
Okay.
a way.
I know y'all were explaining to me a couple weeks ago. Just whoa.
Yeah.
I never
So
really fully understood manipulation because I can't really be manipulated. I don't think, but I don't know either because I'm
Look,
so forgetful.
No, you can't. It's a human situation. Anybody can get manipulated.
I was
You got master
I was abused
manipulators
before, so
out
I have
there.
to have been manipulated,
You got
I
master
think.
manipulators out there that tell you what you want to hear, or they'll sit back and you could just be rattling all kinds of information off about yourself to them. Oh, I like them, and they be like, okay. And then later on, they can use that information against you to get what the hell they want out of you. So yeah, you can be manipulated in some shape or form.
Sorry,
Yes.
I was just thinking about this guy. I know Jessica mentioned stalkers earlier. I actually was a friend with this guy for a good 7, 8 years. And I didn't know at first that he was trying to get me to be in love with him. And he used to do, I'm talkative. He used to do little things that would supposedly manipulate me, but it never really worked. So he used to make me like CD. I love music. He used to give me chocolate. I love chocolate. So that way, this kind of stuff can make me think of him.
Love bombing you. That's
Unfortunately,
what he was doing.
unfortunately, it backfired because I used that CD, having my fun. So it did make me think of him. And I've always liked Reese's. Eh, yeah, so it backfired. But there was some good music I had never heard of before in that CD. So I thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate you. It's life. People have tried to manipulate me before, and people have told me I've done stuff that I just know that I would never do. I'm like, I've never been that drunk in my life. But I don't know how exactly someone could, if I'm doing something for someone, it's because I feel like it. Nobody's gonna make me feel bad about already doing something to please you. So I know that, and you said that was a confidence thing. I'm just saying why I don't fully get it. Because if I'm doing something to make you happy and you didn't like it, most likely I'm gonna probably get angry and be like, F you, eat dirt, not my problem. But that's always been my anger problem. I'm working on my anger issues now, and she's never had those type of anger issues. So I guess I could see how, since she doesn't have anger issues, maybe that's why they were able to get away with stuff like that, because she doesn't get angry like I do. Because I'd be like, B, who you talking to? Oh, you don't like this spaghetti? Eat this spaghetti. Stuff it in your face. Like, don't tell me you don't like my spaghetti. You could be up in here cooking.
I mean,
So,
it just took a long time. I've been a people pleaser since I was in elementary school. Like, I remember being bullied in elementary school, and they bullied me, and I did the things that they other than things that would be like, if I would get in trouble for them, I'd be like, I can't do that. But hey, get my shoes for me. Hey, you go get this. I was like, okay, I'm being
Why do
helpful.
you think it was like that?
Um,
I don't know, because I used to beat people up for it.
I know why I was like that. I was and so I don't want to make this seem like a bad thing. So I spent a lot of time with my mom, and my mom taught me that it was very good to be obedient and to be in service of others. And so she would say, "Good job for you're going to hold yourself back. Good job. Good job for giving away your toy to this other child. Good job for you wanted this thing but you didn't get it and somebody else got it." And so it was very much ingrained that if you are in service to other people, then it's okay for you to not get what you want, and also for it to be detrimental to yourself. It's
Be
okay for you
careful
to
of
feel
that
bad
when you
about
in
that.
relationships, please, honey,
Correct.
because
And
they
it
will
I
eat
didn't
you
even know that,
alive.
and they did. And they
Eat you
did. And
alive.
so I've had
I know.
so I'll be transparent. I have had two separate boyfriends who did not have jobs for large stretches of time while we were together. Well, I took care of them. And so and I was like, "All right, well, you hold your man down. Not your boyfriend. No, that's not how it should work. We should be working together to go towards a goal, right? You don't have a job for a month, I got you. All right, cool. You don't have a job for a year? That's a problem. I had a boyfriend who didn't have a job for 3 years. And so, like, these are things that I had to learn over time that were my own issues that I'm being a stumbling block to, like, I had to get over it by thinking I am being a stumbling block to somebody else's progress. Because other than the detriment to myself, they are not able to move forward because I am taking care of them. If something happened, if I got hit by a bus, how would they survive? That's how I started to get over it. And then I had to progress to what impact does it have to me? So I couldn't start to get over it by, oh my God, it's so bad for me. I had to get to what impact does it have on the other person? I'm being a detriment. Oh, I don't want to be a detriment to them. And then I was able to progress to, well, I have needs too. I have needs that need to be met, and it's okay for me to want things. I have one of my anxiety points is being a burden to someone else. I've had anxiety attacks thinking that I was a burden to someone else. And so those are things that I've had to work on through therapy, that like it's okay to be a burden to someone actually.
The right person won't see it as a burden. The right
Exactly.
person will
And
see it
it
as an act of love. They will see it as, I need to take care of this
exactly.
person because I love them so much.
It's okay to want and need things from other people. And it took, like, I had like a really, like I had such an anxiety attack. I almost had an asthma attack. And that's when I realized that I needed to go to therapy. And so I started going to therapy, and now I've worked through a lot of those things. But that is a really big point for it, is that I had to look at what, what those things look like. And so, but back to, like, I do want to get back to like relationships versus relations, because even though that was an adjacent topic to it, it had to do with what that looked like in my relationship, because it was relations versus relationship. Do you think that sex can truly be casual for both genders?
Yes.
Yes, I believe so, but based on we dealing with stigmas, we dealing with do it as I say, not as I do kind of situation when it comes to the sexual aspect of casual sex. Meaning, okay, like somebody get cheated on, right? Oh, bet you want to cheat on me? I'm gonna get my lick back. Women ain't supposed to do that.
I've seen so many posts where men will do that, but women aren't supposed to do that. Women are supposed to be the caregivers. We're supposed to be understanding. We should understand that it was you're gonna and I hate to pick on you, Farrah, but I remember the polyamory episode. You were like, so you would leave your man just because like he wanted to be with other women? Yes. Yes. 100% like that, and that's okay for you not to feel the same way. But I do feel like it's a societal standard that it is frowned upon for women to leave men that do it. It is praised for men to leave women that do it.
I
So
mean,
when
I would, if I could be the only one having all the people too, I would do it.
I agree,
I'd be
but I
okay
think
with that.
as a societal standard, when you see in the news that this woman was cheating on this man, they're like, "Oh, she was doing him wrong. She dogged him out, da da da," and oh yeah, she needs to get rid of that hoe, right?
I'd like to point out that that wouldn't be my problem. If I had a man to cook my lunches and dinners, and then another man to fill my bathtub, and then another man to get my chocolates, oh, and another man to make sure my car was always taken care of.
I would like to bring you
When
back
we
to
gonna
the
start our
previous episode.
polyandry? When we gonna start our polyandry club? You know, just you and me, and
Oh,
we
only if
start
me
collecting.
and my partner ever split up.
You know,
He, he's
okay.
into
Just let me
monogamy.
know. Just let me
See,
know.
he's the one person in the world that's got me doing whatever he wants me to do. Somehow he put some kind of spell. I don't know what he did, but I'm actually like, okay, I'll compromise. I'll do
Time
what you want.
travel. I will reference a previous episode and let you know that would only happen if there was time travel and I had the same man twice.
But yes, I do think both genders can truly have casual sex. But for me, I'll do that one night stand situation. Meaning, we do it that one night, and then I'll delete your name and number out my phone.
Have you ever had a one night stand?
Yes, I have.
Just a one night? I've never had a one night stand turn out to be a one night stand. Like I mean for it to be a one night stand.
I make sure
Th-
some of these one night stands ain't no way in hell. No,
She said
no.
blocked. Blocked, delete.
Immediately.
Oh well,
I got what I
I
wanted.
guess I can't say that when it comes to women. I've had a bunch of one night stands with women, but the men I generally we have fun for a little bit longer.
Mm.
Never
But
had a
you
one night
know,
stand.
From my experience.
my one night stands, it's that you forget to even get a name or a number. So you
Damn.
just don't know to contact them ever again. It's no, it's just that mind blowing that you can't
I've
think to
always
do
wondered
that.
I've always wondered, so what do you call them during? What do you call them during?
What do you have to call them at all for? You call
I
God.
mean,
You
if you want them to
Jesus.
move
Oh,
or do
that's good.
something, like, you
Oh
don't get a name
shit.
at all?
Fuck. Like what? Why am I calling names? Unless they
She said
want
it's
their
not a
name
job
called. Who cares
interview.
about that?
It's not a job interview. I don't need your first and
I
last
feel like that
name.
Like
would be
I need
so
your social
hilarious.
security
It'd be like
number.
a book. It'd be like, "Oh, my name, baby." Be like, "What is it?" Like,
I actually had a one night stand with a guy that I did not know his name, but it just so happens one of my friends was dating his roommate. So I ended up seeing him again, where I was happy. And he was
Y'all
happy.
smashed again.
Yeah. I didn't know you lived here. Oh, God.
that's awesome.
What
So
about you, Keisha?
Have I ever had a one
have you
night
ever
stand?
had
No,
yeah.
no. Well, that and do you think casual?
Cat.
You know, yeah. What's your input?
Yeah, I think men, women, everything in between are capable of just having casual. It depends on that person and what they're looking for and so on and so forth. I think it's more complicated to keep having casual sex and not one person catching feelings, whether it's
God,
the
yes. That's
male
why I
or the
cut him off.
female in the
Yes.
situation. I always feel like it kind of happens eventually with time if you do it enough times, but I could be wrong. I feel like Farrah might be living proof that that is not always the case. So I've learned something today.
I feel like they're unicorns though. People who can like do it over time and not catch feelings or catch like those kind of feelings are certainly like few and far between. I think as people we tend to create the connection.
Yeah,
So
like
if
your body
you
releases like
have to have a
serotonin.
certain like
Oxytocin. Is it
proclivity.
Oxytocin
oxytocin?
is it oxytocin? Is it serotonin?
Yeah.
It's one
The
of those
kissing
feel good.
hormone.
It's a feel good hormone, and it kind of makes you want to be close to that person.
Bonded. Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
bonding hormone.
it's a bonding hormone. So
Yeah.
So don't
So
kiss.
I've heard that rule
so
before. I've heard that.
should
It's
we
in the spit. So don't kiss them.
stop expecting others to desire commitment?
Should we stop expecting others to desire commitment? I don't think anybody should tell you what you allow to expect for you and yourself, honestly. I get to decide what I allow in my life and what I want. So you can't tell me I got to stop expecting this from some other person because I promise if this one person isn't going to give it to me, I'll find somebody else that is. I don't have to settle. I don't have to, conform. It's my life. I get to live it how I want to. So I get to expect whatever I want. If you don't want to give it to me, that's fine. Keep it
That means
moving.
you need to find somebody that aligns with you.
Yes, that's
Yeah,
all there is to it.
We always talk
Everybody
about
needs to be in
alignment.
alignment.
alignment. Find somebody that's compatible. If you're like, I can never be monogamous and all I want to do is be monogamous, then we're not supposed to be together. That's all.
Yeah.
And it's not a
I
Yeah.
bad
do
thing.
think
We're just
I do
not
think we have to stop
compatible.
expecting it without communication. So just like me, I learned the hard way. We have to stop expecting um monogamy without communication. So we can't expect the other person to have the same standards and have the same thought process that we do. We have to communicate that thought process. And then if we are not aligned, move out of the way. Don't make the same mistake that I did. Don't allow somebody to manipulate you into staying and trying to figure it out and let them sow their wild oats and I'm just trying to figure out life, all that. If you're not aligned, it's okay to say, okay, no problem. I really liked you. I wish this would have worked. It didn't. You enjoy the rest of your life. And if you decide that you want monogamy in the future, you're welcome to give me a call. If I am free, we may be able to try this again, but the likelihood is low.
So
You don't
basically,
spin the
be
block.
more transparent. Basically, be more transparent. Everybody needs to be more
Be
transparent
transparent
about what they
and
want.
stand your ground, hold your boundaries. Hold
Yeah.
your boundaries. Don't allow somebody else to push back that line, to
If
just push it
somebody
back little by
disrespects
little.
your boundaries, they're disrespecting you. That's plain and simple. If they don't care about your boundaries, they don't value you.
I know this is probably some people might not agree with this, but when you're holding back your boundaries and you're telling people what you do or don't want, have a weapon on. Not everybody thinks, like, serious, not everybody thinks that you're allowed to go somewhere else.
I love
Some
that.
people think that you're mine and only mine. And I've been in some bad experiences where people were like, "Oh no, you're gonna stay with me forever," and you're just like, "I never agreed to this." So you gotta like literally defend yourself out of the relationship. You gotta make sure that you run. So I'm just saying boundaries are good and all that. Don't get scared just because you're holding your ground. Just have maybe a little key in between your two fingers right here, or some pepper spray in this hand, because not everybody thinks that you're supposed to be alone. They think they may want to sit there and go have sex with 50 million women, but you're their main one,
And
and
you
you're the
you
one
got
they
a
took
point.
home to mama.
You got a point. You got a point because they don't see you as a human being. They see you as
They
Your
see you
property. You
property.
belong to
as
them.
a
Mhm.
possession.
And that's a scary
Scary
situation to
place to
be
be.
in, you know.
And I
And you
can
don't
say
know.
as someone who didn't want relationships, a lot of times when a woman is the one who doesn't want the relationship, and this is for either women or men, um, it seems to me that the more you don't want a relationship, the more someone tries to force it on you. I'll kill myself if you're not scared of me. Yeah. At first, that might work at first. Please don't kill yourself. Then eventually you're like, go ahead. Like, come on.
If you are having mental health issues, please seek assistance. Please seek help. If you truly feel like somebody else is the make or break for whether or not you are actually going to heal yourself, and not just make empty threats to somebody for them to actually stay. If you feel like that is the case, please seek help. Please seek help immediately. Go talk to a professional so that you can work through those feelings and hopefully live, because that can really be a thing. And um I have had somebody who was in my life that dated someone for a very they didn't even really date them. They just started talking to somebody, and when the person expressed disinterest, they killed themselves. And so, yeah. And so the person expressed that they were like, "I don't think we'll be, I don't think I wanna do this." They got a little afraid because they thought the person was stalking them, and when they heard that the person was scared, they were like, "It's fine, you won't be scared anymore."
That's terrible.
It was quite terrible. So if you truly feel these things, please don't move forward. Seek help. Seek help. There is somebody in your life who is going to miss you. There is somebody in your life who wants you here. And so think of those people and seek help, and allow yourself to come back from that stronger than you've ever been, because you are
Mhm.
somebody that is needed in the world.
Absolutely. And on the flip side, if you're someone that does not truly feel that way, but you use that to make people do what you want them to do, seek help. Seek help because that's not healthy. You shouldn't be trying to manipulate people and threatening something as serious and detrimental as suicide to make them stick around or make them do what you want. You will find someone that wants to be with you and you don't have to threaten them. And you should want somebody that wants to be with you that you don't have to threaten. So seek help. Do the things. Talk to a counselor. Talk to a pastor. Talk to a trusted loved one. But yeah, that person needs help too.
In this episode, we talked about relations versus relationships, the core disconnect between not just the genders, but between people who sometimes don't want the same things, and whether we are being transparent about wanting the same things, or not wanting the same things. We talked a little bit about the difference between the emotional and sexual aspect, and we talked through the different pieces, that all the moving pieces that really a core to making sure that we're having these conversations with the people that we're with, and that we're not being pigeonholed. If you do not want a relationship, it's okay. Just be transparent about that. We talked about the difference between the genders, which we kind of agreed that there's not really a difference with gender. There's a difference between schools of thought. And we talked a bit about whether we should expect people to desire the commitment that we want, and what that looks like. In the comments below, tell us your take on this. What do you expect when you're in a relationship? What is it that you would like to see going forward from the people who are trying to court you, whether you're a man who's taking out a woman taking out a man, or anything in between? Thank you for joining us on another episode of Different Walk Serious Talks. Have a great day.